Hello, everyone. My name is Trups LP, and welcome to the Not Guilty episode of our political recap. Joining me, as always, is the lovely co-host, real host, but also not so much, Omegon. Say hello, Omegon.
Hello, Megon.
Yes.
I
So,
like the changed intro. That's quite something.
yeah. I'm trying to hype us up and also find
Oh
a way
yeah.
to excuse the fact that I will warn all of you now. Apparently, both Meg and I have really shitty voices right now. Um,
Yup.
Mine will cut in and out occasionally, so it kind of sounds like I'm going through puberty again. Um,
Yay.
mm, there are
Mine
plenty
is
of
just
voice
one
cracks to
note.
be had,
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
but it is on the upswing, so hopefully it doesn't happen nearly as
Oh,
much as it was
fingers
happening the
crossed.
other day.
I mean, mine was pretty bad this morning. As the day has progressed, yeah, we're fine now. Actually, to be honest, it's just deeper. That's all it is. How is Trups? Is Trups
Um,
happy? Perhaps.
Trups is definitely
Can't
doing a
imagine.
couple of victory
Can't
rounds. Yeah.
can't imagine why.
Well, on my way home, I even picked up a little bit of victory wine for myself.
So
Mm.
I mentioned just before we went live, I was listening to this verdict as I got in from work. I was eating my dinner, and I put it on because it was just conveniently timed, really. And yes, I was exceptionally pleased with the outcome. And I did see one or two people on my tweet saying this was a miscarriage of justice, and I'm not going to say who you are. I don't care enough. I fundamentally disagree with you. There you go. It's on record.
Good.
Hello, everyone. By the way,
I don't know who the fuck you're talking about, but all right.
I know on a tweet where so Trups and I both wrote not guilty on our respective Twitter accounts. On my one, I've got one or two not happy about the result. Yeah, I don't get it really.
Yes. Yeah, I pick some fights with some people because that's just what I do.
It's in your blood.
It is I'm compelled to be that way, right?
Hardwired.
Yeah, definitely. Um Plus I had to. Too many people are literally lying, right? I cannot deal with it. I cannot allow people to just lie and have zero pushback.
Mm-hmm.
That is the reason why I am compelled.
Are you referring to De Blasio? Is it De Blasio and Nadler or something?
De Blasio,
De
Nadler,
Blasio is the stupid one
Hakeem
because
Jeffries,
he
Cuomo.
De Blasio. I had heard that Biden had said something, but I couldn't find anything to confirm it. That he had kind of condemned Rittenhouse, but I've
He
seen nothing
did
to.
originally.
Okay, so I've beyond. I was expecting more than that, to be honest. But if there
It
was.
was so it's weird. A kind of a circumstantial thing. So it was a video that he put out for the campaign, and
Right.
in it he's talking about fighting back against like white supremacists. Right. That's the thing either being said or being
Oh,
written, and then it
yeah.
flashes to Kyle Rittenhouse. So by proxy, he is inferring
So,
that Kyle Rittenhouse is
this
in fact a white
this
supremacist.
explains why on my Twitter I saw
Mhm,
Black Lives Matter trending, white supremacy, something with all the K's in it trending, all these like a
mhm,
Proud Boys trending, and it's entirely because apparently a white young man
mhm,
shoots two guys and they die, both of whom I believe
mhm,
are white anyway.
mhm.
Somehow this is a Black Lives Matter thing.
I want to point out, by the way, that during this whole ordeal, right now, Twitter exploding with Kyle Rittenhouse, right?
Yeah.
I want to remind everybody that the Ahmed Arbery case is also going on
Oh
right now.
no, I'd heard about that.
And now, this was, in case y'all don't remember, Ahmed Arbery was the person who was accused of stealing from a house and then was chased down by three people in pickup trucks. And then, while fighting for his life, um, he grabs hold of their shotgun and gets shot several times. I remember reading this and I said, no matter what, the fact that he grabbed the shotgun, that's probably a bad move. That being said, that trial that's going on right now, it looks worse and worse for the white guys involved than it does for Arbery.
For the
And I
sake
may end up changing my opinion on that whole ordeal.
So the Arbery thing, I once did try and cover it, but because there were so many conflicting details, I didn't want to go near it afterwards until it was resolved in a court of law.
Yeah.
But I'm very much aware, though, that based on what we're seeing from people responding to Rittenhouse's verdict, there's no version of a reality where they will accept a not guilty if a not guilty is given. They'll just they'll say corruption, and there's a possibility of it, but you can't. It just makes it seem like everyone who commits those kind of crimes is just guilty cause.
Yes, if you are engaged with anyone who is remotely black, they don't actually have to be black, but cursory related to black, then apparently it's a Black Lives Matter issue, unless it's Ahmaud Arbery, in which case apparently Kyle Rittenhouse is more important.
I'm slightly surprised actually because I had seen one tweet. It was some ginger guy. No, it was a video from a tweet. Ginger guy giving a testimony in a court, I believe. But that was the only thing I saw on that. And I remember the big, I would have thought that if Black Lives Matter was going to trend, it would be for that. You have a very good point.
Oh, yes. There. I just read up in the chat. Rich T makes a very good point.
What's
Rittenhouse is mixed. Rittenhouse is Hispanic.
Oh, is he? Ah. Well, that's
Hell
okay.
Yeah.
Clearly white supremacist like Tipster then, who is, as he himself says, and he has said on multiple occasions, Mexican.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
not that people care. They then take this as an opportunity to say, yeah, but you don't agree with me and the courts of my public opinion, therefore you're the wrong kind of Mexican.
Oh, and Ahsoka Tano, we will get there. It is going to be... We have to go through a week of bullshit.
We've got so many stupid shit. That, to me, by the way, the moment that happened, one word was in my head the whole time. Just one word.
Trial?
That's the word.
Nailed it.
Yeah. All right, so...
I do want to mention one thing that is outside... Okay, two things that are outside of the Kyle Rittenhouse trial really fast.
Okay.
One, this is a momentous day for more than one reason. Besides Kyle Rittenhouse being found not guilty, we also had the first... We actually had the first female president today for 30 minutes. Oh,
yeah, because
Joe Biden had his butt examined.
Yeah, he had a camera shoved up his arsehole.
Yes, he did.
Is this normal for presidents?
According to the old school Mario cartoon, I hear that it is wise to regularly have your prostate checked after you reach a certain age.
Yeah, but this is colonoscopy. This isn't a prostate check. Is just a couple fingers. I don't think you need an entire camera crew in there.
I don't know. And also, can you imagine the screening that would have to go into the background of a doctor to be like, yes, you are approved to put a camera up the President of the United States.
Yeah, get the doctor to sign an NDA. You must not tell anyone what you saw up there. It's a state secret.
I legitimately do think that is, in fact, a state secret. But
it's a state secret. Oh, thank you, Tiana, for the sticker. A $5 donation. It's very generous of you.
Yes, thank you very much. And yes, I saw what you said earlier.
Biden's asshole is a state secret. Everyone pass it on.
Indeed. And can you imagine our first female president? And they gave her 30 minutes and we took it away.
I mean, it's still, obviously, it's a very momentous occasion, of course it is. Even if it is the one VP where I still maintain Tulsi Gabbard would have been better.
Sure, yeah,
just because of her DA was she an Attorney General, wasn't she?
She was an Attorney General of California.
Right. That her record is horrendous.
Oh, it's awful.
And so I find, and obviously I'm British, it doesn't really matter too much, but when I think about that, I'm sat back like, I don't want to give this kind of person power. I've got Boris Johnson, a guy who just doesn't pay attention to Parliament, even though he indulges in the pantomime and then thinks he's above it.
Let's be honest, your Parliament sucks.
It does, but it's no better than your Well,
You're right.
your
Though
equal pantomime.
truly, you are quite right in that statement. Though I have to give some people credit today, because Kevin McCarthy this morning. This is the second thing that I wanted to touch on.
Okay, who's
Um,
McCarthy?
Kevin McCarthy. So he is the minority leader in the House of Representatives. Last night, the House was slated to vote on the infrastructure bill.
Build Back
Um,
Better.
I believe it was that one, yes.
Okay.
But it could have been the 1.75 trillion.
Well,
I'm
that's
not quite
it's
sure.
called the Build Back Better plan. That's what it's called.
Yeah, I know that in particular. Yes, that much is true. But Kevin McCarthy decided that as a last ditch effort to try and prevent this from going through, that he would proceed to give one of the longest speeches in House history, and
Oh,
proceeded to talk for 8.5 hours
nice. Why
to prevent them from taking a vote.
did it work?
No,
it's
but it's equally symbolic as it is.
an interesting filibuster attempt.
Well, that was similar to what what's his face? The South Carolina guy.
Couldn't tell you. I
Can't remember his name. Can't remember his name, but he was famous for one of the longest filibuster speeches before.
I do like the rules of
Can't,
filibuster.
something with an S. But anyway, but I have to give him credit because all right, no one else is gonna come up there and help him, right?
Right.
So fuck this. I'm gonna take it all upon myself, and I'm gonna talk for the next 8.5 hours just so I can piss you guys off if it isn't gonna solve anything.
Why? Just out of curiosity. Why is he opposed to it?
Yes, as many should be because I don't can't remember. Did somebody say there was the infrastructure or not? Well, regardless, the bills that they are currently pushing for the Build Back Better plan, they're bullshit. Okay, the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, came out with a score for it in the last, I think, couple days, and it basically came out to say that with new tax plans, the ones that include people going around and basically looting through your bank history to make sure you didn't sneak away to $600. Uh,
Right.
that plus the spending means that it will increase the deficit only by about 350 billion.
Only.
Only, correct. Which is interesting because that flies in the face of Biden's original estimates, which said that it would have been a net positive, but that's okay.
I mean,
Um,
I'm sure in the long run it is.
oh yeah, totally. I love it when the government overreaches into my bank account. That's always works great. Um, but that passed this morning. I bet you didn't know that though.
I actually, the Build Back Better thing, I did and didn't. Because earlier trending on Twitter was Biden is successful, I think.
Yeah, I saw that, and it
I
seemed
think it's
like
because
the
of that. I think it's because of that.
see for me it sounded like somebody trying like you know when people like try to lie really bad and like they do everything they can, even just like repeating the same thing over and over again ad nauseum,
Yes.
even if it's wrong. Okay, that's kind of what it felt like
Oh, really?
when when I saw that was trending. I was like, don't believe you.
I
Not only
mean,
do I not believe you, but I think you're actually outright lying.
it's always possible.
Oh, it's more than possible. It's 10 out of 10 likely. Biden is successful, yes, with the oil and gas prices increasing. Uh, our trade is abysmal.
Oh,
Our
inflation's going up quite a
ability,
bit as well.
our inflation is through the roof. We can't even get fucking trucks into our ports or ships into our ports.
Oh,
Yeah,
and you do
Biden's
also,
doing
like the
great.
UK, you also have a certain problem with a border that doesn't exist.
Ah, yes, our southern border, in which all the people who are concerned about COVID apparently mysteriously forget that COVID is a problem when it has to do with illegal Mexicans.
Just for the sake of it, disclaimer: we are pro-immigration, but not
I'm also
pro-illegal
Hispanic.
immigration.
I am pro legal immigration. Stop taking what my parents did and shitting over it. That's that.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I think that's the most accurate. I mean,
I
basically
get
that's what it does.
I get to be the most boring person ever. What's your heritage? English. Anything
Oh,
else? No,
great.
no. My family can get traced back to the 1600s when surnames were first introduced. It really
That's
is very boring.
I gotta say that's kind of cool though.
Yeah, it's. I'll
It's kind
explain.
of cool in the sense that you have longevity in your
I'll
history.
I'll explain it
I
to you
don't.
after the stream because my dad did a little
I
digging. It's actually kind of cool.
Nice. I don't actually know where my name originates. The furthest I got back was Catalan in Spain.
I'll be honest, I can trace it right back to vinyl LP after all.
Hmm. Yes,
Trups,
good.
look.
Thank you. Yeah, I got that. I almost was too young to understand that joke.
Oh, my, oh, the youngest old person I know.
Yes, quite right. Okay, but that was the only other things that I had to quickly mention before
All
we
right,
talked
okay.
about Kyle.
I mean, let's see. Is there anything British related here? I'm going to quickly scroll through our sources. It's
I,
majority. It's okay. So
I doubt it, to
there's
be
something
honest.
there's a tweet from Corey Bush, but you might want to scroll up
Oh,
and read that later. Um,
I think I saw it.
yeah, there's not much really. Oh, the COP26 agreement apparently in there. Shower 3 times a week for a maximum of 8 minutes. Stop playing video games. Buy 3 shirts maximum per year and 2 trousers, and 2 hours maximum of streaming per day.
What?
Ah, I don't.
What?
It's part. It might be the joke aspect of the COP26 agreement. Some of the
I
suggestions it
guess.
made, because it has a load of suggestions, and they're just it. You know what? Let's just talk about Rittenhouse. This is just too cringe.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. So we have to go back to earlier in the week first and
Yeah.
foremost.
So where do we leave off?
Okay, so if I recall correctly, they had already begun jury deliberations. Um, yes, because no, they finished the I think the rebuttals on
Yeah, they
Friday,
had
and then
because
began jury stuff on Monday.
we had then said that we both felt that he uh, should not be found guilty in a court of law, but also at
Correct.
that point there were compelling arguments to make for uh,
Hmm.
for a mistrial because
Quite right.
the prosecution throughout this cocked it up. Someone said it that the prosecution should now be held to account. Yes, they should for using disingenuous tactics. I like that.
Straight up lying,
So there was
in my
also
opinion.
providing sources to the defense, and they were of an
Mm.
inferior quality. Look, I use Handbrake. But
Hmm.
I've never used it to do that, to turn the quality of video down.
Hmm.
That's just dodgy. That's really bad.
I think actually we should talk about that first. So one of the first things that had come up in this whole story, in this week rather, right?
Yeah,
Because this is a week of revelations for both the defense and the prosecution and everybody watching, really.
of course.
So one of the first things that happened was the revelation about this FBI drone video, which the I believe it was the defense had but didn't enter
Hmm.
into evidence, and they wanted to introduce this into evidence after evidence had been
Oh
already
yeah,
handled. So that was the first problem, the first glaring issue with this situation. And when they were all watching it back in the courtroom, they said something very, very important, which was ours is clearer, says
yeah,
Binger,
yeah.
which made everybody go, wait, what? And then they said, well, it's just playing back wrong. which made everybody kind of, cock their heads a little confused.
Uh-huh.
As it turns out, the prosecution had this evidence as well, but did not want to enter it for whatever reason.
Yeah, I can't
That's
imagine
completely
why.
their prerogative. But withholding evidence is not so much their prerogative, and
The thing
it's
is,
not necessarily fair in a ethical standpoint.
the stupid thing is, no one would have known if he hadn't said it.
Right? He kind of threw himself under the bus because they're kind of fucking retards.
I mean, someone did mention, who's the guy with the spiky hair?
Binger.
Right. No, I said he looked like someone else, didn't I, last week?
Yeah, he said he looked like somebody from the Iron Man series. I believe.
Oh yeah, he looked like Hammer. Yeah, from the second movie.
Yeah.
That's him. Yeah. But he I was going to go some of that. Crap, I completely forgot.
He wouldn't have fucked himself over if he didn't say it out loud.
It wasn't that, but it was something else relevant. Oh shit, I've already forgotten. That's great.
Yes, but don't worry, we were just bringing attention to how stupid his haircut was.
No. It was him in particular because there was something he did, and I'd completely forgotten. His haircut is stupid, though.
Yes, it is quite. So.
Oh no, his past. Previous cases he did. That was it. Someone had mentioned it on the news, and they mentioned he has failed a few times with these. He's very anti-gun, and you can tell he is because when he pointed the gun at the jury, his finger was on the trigger. And as everyone else rightly pointed out, with the picture of Rittenhouse, his finger was correctly down the side of the gun.
Yes, correct. In a much safer position because you don't point a gun, loaded or unloaded, at anybody unless you plan to shoot them. And that's just the rule. If you don't follow that rule, most people just assume you have no fucking idea what you're doing holding a gun.
The jury got fucked many times during this. Whoever the fat guy was on the prosecution side, right? He multiple times said the same thing over and over again to the point the judge had to say to the jury, forget you heard that. Because you're not allowed to... No, stop it.
You're not allowed to prejudice the jury? What? This was my entire plan.
It was so funny. Because the thing is, he said it a second time and I thought, did he just forget? I mean, I understand lapse, lapse.
Worse.
But then he did it a third time. He did it a third time. And that's where I'm like, oh my God, he's actually fucking stupid. And it was great because it then added even more fuel to the fire for a mistrial with prejudice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. With prejudice, yes.
Which, by the way, we'll certainly circle back to later that term. Something I'd never heard before, but now I know what it means. I'm actually kind of intrigued.
Yes. Okay, so that was leading into Krauss. Yeah, that was the second part of that video that got a little weird. So Krauss had said that during one of the witness testimonies that he doesn't quite understand video editing software, video compression, anything like that.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand that. But clearly, during that moment in particular, we have actual video of a strange set of apps on the state evidence laptop. Now, one of them is Handbrake.
Yeah.
Now, Meg, do you want to explain what Handbrake does?
So, I use Handbrake for my YouTube videos. It's free. You can just download it, and I use it to reduce the size of the video that I've originally rendered through Vegas Pro without compromising the quality of the video. What I didn't know, which is why I tweeted this out, is that you can also use it to reduce the quality of the video. I didn't know you could do that. But you can also set dimensions. You can actually manipulate the video a little bit. And I didn't know this, and I couldn't stop laughing when people told me, and then I got the context, and I was like, "Oh my God, you're actually this stupid."
Now, question for you, because I've never used Handbrake before.
Yeah.
How complicated is it to work? Is it relatively simple?
No, it's a piece of piss.
Is it really?
Legit. I drag my video file into it. I then select where I want it to go. Usually I've got I could just open it now and tell you off the top of my head, actually. I will then have like if I open a single file, I'll have 1080p selected, and then I hit starting
Mhm.
code, and boom, done. It takes like, if the video's not that long, it can take a couple minutes. If it's a big video, it might take about 10 minutes. It's quite quick.
Okay. So that was one of the videos that, or one of the programs. I forget what was the other one. Let me quickly go back into my records and find what the other program was. But if I remember correctly, it was a cropping program.
Which one?
That they. That's a good question.
I didn't know that. I don't use cropping
Yeah.
programs, so it's not a thing I do, because I crop things in Vegas Pro instead.
Yes. Well, I use Adobe Premiere for everything because I paid for it. Um, and I decided that I wanted to. Well, I'm trying to figure. Well, I'm trying to find the exact name of that.
Yeah.
The next very very odd thing that happened was actually something that happened the week prior, but we didn't think that it was going to result in anything quite like it did. So last week there was a person whose phone was seized by Kenosha Police Department for taking photos of the jury. We do not know
Oh.
the name of the individual.
Oh, is this the one
But
that followed them, or is it someone else?
well, we don't know. The original person who had gotten in trouble, we do not know anything about them. However, somebody was trying to photograph or film the jury. Kenosha Police Department or the bailiff, whichever it was, basically seized that phone and ensured that that video and was deleted.
Right.
The judge was informed and made a statement in court, basically saying that this will not happen again. This is a very serious matter, but don't worry, we handled it. Fast forward to this week, and we had a very interesting development happen. A MSNBC reporter was detained on Wednesday night following the jury bus in particular after
Oh,
they were
yeah.
released.
This was shit.
Hmm.
This is where I was like, this is, how is it not a mistrial now? You've
Yes,
you've
exactly
you've
what I was thinking.
I mean, in that instance, I mean, I got why it had to play out. I really do. Because they're in
Sure.
deliberations, you know? You shouldn't be. What were you hoping to achieve? Intimidation? Because
Yes, exactly that.
because
I genuinely think so.
by doing that, you guarantee a mistrial, and it will more than likely be with prejudice. Because there's no
Yeah,
reason to come back, because you've ruined
right.
the chance for justice to have its day.
Right, exactly. So, and then this is a very interesting situation because you actually had two different stories. So, first, you had the statement read out by the judge, which was the alleged MSNBC reporter, whose name is James Morrison, by the way, um,
That's a
whom
British singer.
it did sound very British, didn't it?
Yeah.
Um, who was claiming that he was quote instructed to follow the jury bus. Now, that was the only details that was shared, but we do know that he did also mention whom sent him, and
Uh
that
huh.
was his producer in New York by the name of Irene Boyd. And at first, we didn't know whether or not this was true or not, or just somebody claiming to be an MSNBC reporter. But our claims or our thoughts were a little bit more validated when, after this was, broadcast on the court TV, that Miss Irene Boyd or Mrs. I don't know,
How do you?
then
Hang on.
nuked.
Just before you continue, Thomas Binger, how do you set your LinkedIn profile to be open to work? Nice.
Very nice.
I approve of this account for a number of reasons.
Is that a meme that you see?
Possibly. Carry on. So, is
Yes,
this the same one that ran the red light?
yes. So this is the person who ran the red light, James Morrison, and he was the one who was then
I
taken
thought it was
into
some.
custody afterwards because following a jury, regardless of your traffic violation, is a much more serious account.
I thought the person that ran the red light was like some small Asian lady.
No, that was the producer in New York.
Irene
Boyd.
Bayan.
Bayan? Is it Bayan?
BYON.
Dyslexic?
Yeah.
I'm dyslexic as shit.
I'm looking at an Andy No tweet here that we got saved, and yeah.
Cool. Apparently I'm dyslexic.
It's all good. Carry on.
So then MSNBC, after this gets read out, and I guess after they Irene nukes her entire social media presence, including but not limited to her LinkedIn account and also her Twitter, which basically gave credence to all of the statements made by others, because we didn't know it was true until, well, you ran away, which made it sound like you were really, really guilty. And then MSNBC comes out and says, yes, we did have a reporter out there. No, he wasn't trying to follow the jury or photograph them or contact them. He was just trying to get an interview with them after the verdict was reached. Now, I'm going to ask you, Meg, if you were to try to get an interview with somebody, but you couldn't contact them, how would you do it?
I mean, there are some options. There are some options.
Really? Because I don't know if that's an option. I don't think there's a feasible way to actually not contact somebody, but ask them a fucking question.
I mean, it's all open. You never know.
Just send a paper airplane through the window.
No, I'm thinking two
like
cans and some string.
maybe a fucking poster board. It says prom, but then it scratched out and says interview.
Yeah, that casting couch.
I can't. Okay. Almost spat out my wine there. Thank you.
Someone in the chat mentioned they bought themselves a bottle of Rittenhouse Straight Rye or something. Turns out that's I didn't know that existed. And I'm like,
it's a whiskey.
I'm looking at. Well, I spelled incorrectly, but you know what? It looks. I'm intrigued enough. I might get a sample of it.
See, I thought the same thing. I didn't stop off at the liquor store, but I might this weekend just for funsies.
Maybe when I get paid.
Yeah, but we'll see. But anyway, so that came out, and that story that MSNBC posted was a little bit different than the police account of the individual who was already arrested and what he told police. Now, I'm inclined to more believe the person who was under duress by the police department than the corporate PR response, just because I guess I'm too cynical.
Oh.
Sorry, I was just reading the chat where it said, Wandering Lisa said, so Jack Posobiec just tweeted that Kyle may be facing federal charges.
Yes.
Nether has called.
Yeah, I archived the tweet and put it in our tab. It's at the bottom if you want to read it in a bit. We'll get to it later, though. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, the judge then, after reading this all out, basically barred MSNBC from being in the building, not in the courtroom, in the building. They were not allowed. So the jokes were great after the verdict was reached, because someone said, "Can we get a wellness check on MSNBC? And has anyone told them the verdict yet?" Which made me giggle because, haha, fuck you. You're a piece of shit organization. Also, I want to point out that MSNBC, after the verdict was reached, basically put out an opinion article that said that, once again, Kyle Rittenhouse is a white supremacist, which I guess they didn't learn their lesson from Nick Sandmann about saying stupid shit. But apparently they haven't learned their lesson, and I hope that Kyle teaches them said lesson.
Many of them are still pushing this idea that he crossed the state line with an AR-15 in his hands.
Yeah, that I don't know why they keep saying that. Especially because even
there's De Blasio and Nadler. They're both pushing that as well.
Oh, I know. They're both liars. The concern I have is whether or not it's negligent, meaning they didn't watch it and they don't know better, or worse yet, willful ignorance,
Oh, it's the
and they're
latter.
just. Is it? Do you think so?
I think it's the latter.
Because
I think they haven't paid any attention to it at all. They're just going with the louder group and are like, you know what? You're right.
okay,
We should have more power to control your lives.
I
So we'll
guess that
just go
makes
with
it.
your opinion and take away your rights.
I
Second
guess that
Amendment, though,
follows
right?
suit with their shit. Yeah, yeah, definitely that.
Who
Second
who
Amendment, we have
who
that.
wants the right to bear arms? Is that it? Yeah.
You know who wants the right to bear arms? Fucking citizens when they see their governments doing bullshit like
I
this.
saw a tweet that said it's a bit of a sort of a difficult spot really because on one hand you have a murdering white supremacist, on the other hand you have someone defending themselves. So either you enable the racists who kill people, or you enable the anti-fascists who yeah. I feel like that tweet lost its path quite a while ago, and I just don't want to give it any more time. But you know what I mean? I think I've got it saved. It's one of those stupid tweets where someone has said that either or they're both in the wrong. I know. Let's take away the guns. And
Well,
yet, tipster,
that
that it
that
blows my mind.
is
It's
the
stupid.
response.
Tipster's right, absolutely.
That that
It's
is usually the response to some of these people.
mm.
They usually don't really actually care what happened. They just find
By the way,
whatever reason. Yeah.
that state line aspect proves its willful ignorance because that was mentioned in the court and
I guess
debunked.
yeah, you're
So
right.
they were not paying attention at all. I'm sorry, but I was, and I rarely pay attention.
Right. And not only that, but it wasn't even something that you had to look too hard to find.
No, it really wasn't. I get you guys are busy doing your whatever it is you do, but come
Lying,
on, it takes like
cheating, stealing from
I
the
mean,
American people.
I mean, yes,
All of the above, yeah, yeah, basically.
but it doesn't take 5 seconds to Google this.
It doesn't. And not only that, but I guess it depends. If you do use Google, you might not get the actual answer. Use DuckDuckGo, you'll get the real answer.
Sorry,
Hmm.
we're not sponsored on this channel, just to be clear. But if
Do they
DuckDuckGo would
pay
like
people?
to,
Wait,
um,
does DuckDuckGo pay people?
I don't know. But
I'll
if they
show.
do,
I'll show the fuck out
if
of
they
it.
do, we'll take you. We'll take Tenga eggs, and we'll take what fast food place do you like?
Well, In-N-Out seems to be based, so
All right.
we can go with In-N-Out.
Chick-fil-A. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A, dope. I love
I've,
Chick-fil-A.
I've never had them, but we'll have them too. Just
Yeah, dude. I'll get a fucking Chick-fil-A.
I like that. I mentioned 3 there, and no one said anything when I mentioned Tenga eggs.
I almost died. I don't know if you heard that.
The motto is simply "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah, clearly, especially with that kind of a sponsorship. Yep, that could be a tagline for this fucking stream. Sure.
I mean, it'd be. I'd probably.
Boyski
Yeah.
Live, go fuck yourself.
Go fuck
Sponsored by
yourself.
Tenga Eggs.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so that whole spiel happens. MSNBC, and they get basically shoot out of the courtroom, and that
Yeah.
was Wednesday into Thursday.
Yep.
And at this point, we're at day 3 of deliberations.
Yeah. So this is interesting because at that point, I'd heard it was 2 people that were causing issues, and I remember, and I don't agree with quartering on this one because I think it was him that said it, that the judge should just dismiss those 2 jurors. I was like, that's not. No.
It doesn't look good in the public
it doesn't.
eye if you do that.
Exactly. I get you want to get a result. My view is you need to let this. It has to play out organically. You cannot force it.
The problem is if somebody is literally biased and they have basically cheated their way onto the jury by lying in terms of their biases and their willingness to overlook certain things simply by watching the evidence that is presented in trial.
Yeah.
Then yes, you can still dismiss jurors. That's kind of what happened with the individual who had made the crass joke about Jacob Blake. That's
yeah.
kind of what had happened. Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, I do. That was. I mean, the joke was shite.
Now, I wanna kind of find out how the fuck that was found out. By the way, because those jury's identities were secret.
Yeah, bit confusing, but you know what?
Yeah, I
We'll
just I just thought about that after the fact. I was like, wait a second, how'd they find that out? Anywho's,
3 days of
so
deliberations, though, quite impressive.
right, right, 3 days of deliberation. A lot of people, especially Kyle Rittenhouse supporters, were getting a little concerned because that just sounds like, well, like it might come back as a hung jury or a compromised jury or
Well,
some combination of the two.
my thought was this should have been thrown out mistrial earlier, a week ago, easily.
I agree,
It should have
actually.
been it should have been before the jury was dismissed to go and deliberate or whatever it is they do. You know, not dismissed, go to deliberate. Yeah, it should never have got. It should have been. Yeah, but then as each day went past, I was sat there like, because of what's happened leading up to the day itself,
Mhm.
you do start to feel a bit strange because the argument that many will say is attempted jury intimidation, and that's quintessential corruption, and it
Oh,
has you worried because
absolutely.
if anyone had managed to get close enough, then that would cause a mountain of problems. And how on earth? So what really bugs me is that he is innocent before any verdict. He was innocent anyway, and they knew it. But instead of letting things play out to get to the natural conclusion, they were willing to create additional story. They were
Mhm.
willing to throw their own people under the bus. Well, try and catch up with the bus. To throw their people
Well,
under the
right,
bus,
right. Ran a red light, by the way.
just so they could get a story, just so that they could run with details and information that you should never have.
Not only that,
According to
but
your
could you
peers, not
imagine? Could you
this.
imagine? Because especially during that time, about the third day, people were already concerned that some of the jurors had made the comment that they were looking at a potential um, either rule him guilty or face the wrath of the mob,
The wrath.
essentially.
I do feel sorry for
That
Kenosha right
that was
now.
what that was what some actually did think, and, we're gonna find out if it comes true tonight, be honest. As dark as that may sound, we're going to find out if it comes to fruition. I hope to God it doesn't, because I don't think that anybody, especially the people of Kenosha, who already are like, "Nah, I don't fucking wanna deal with this shit." I'm sure that the last thing they wanna worry about is, "Oh, by the way, a jury of our peers in this area have apparently decided to acquit this person because of all of the evidence pointing resoundingly in the direction of self defense, and yet the BLM people are very upset." Did you know that today the Jacob Blake family decided to confront the Rittenhouse team for some fucking reason, as if Kyle shot Jacob Blake himself?
Guilt by association, I guess.
It literally is even worse than guilt by association, because it doesn't even make a modicum of sense that somebody would bitch and moan that a protest that happened around an individual. Okay, random person did a bad thing. Let's burn that person at the cross in honor of my dead brother, son, whatever, who not even died, got paralyzed at the hands of police.
Was that the one that attacked him with a knife?
I believe so, yeah.
Innocent
It was
passenger,
the
right?
individual who tried to what was the word? Kidnap somebody who had a restraining order. Tried to get him into a car.
And then I assume the fact I mentioned knife because they may have had it in their hands when the police.
Right. I believe it was actually in their hands. It's been a while since I've looked up on the Jacob Blake story
I
because it's not been
actually
relevant.
Yeah, I know nothing about it beyond the odd comment I've seen here and there. So,
Fun story. I know more about Eddie Gray than I know about him.
who's Eddie Gray?
Than I know about. He was another person who died.
Okay, well we'll leave that be for the time being.
Yeah,
So
I don't want to open that can of worms.
we're 45 minutes in. Let's get to the verdict. Context: I had just got in from work and I was eating my dinner because I'm a classy bitch. I was stood by the microwave, and I caught. Are you drunk, by the way?
No,
Okay.
I just can't speak very well.
Yeah, I noticed. I can't either, though. To be fair, this
I was gonna
is a
say this is a
stellar show.
very difficult stream.
This
I
is,
hope you all appreciate this shit.
this is a stellar performance. So there I am,
Yes, good job,
my
everybody.
teriyaki chicken and my rice. I'm wolfing it down, and then I have that video playing with the verdict. On the
Fair.
first count, not guilty. Second, not guilty.
Mm.
Third, not guilty. Fourth, not guilty. And fifth,
Hmm?
not guilty.
Yeah, there's two more
Now,
downstairs in the fridge.
if memory serves, I think you told me that if he was found not guilty on just one of them, then he was fine anyway.
I believe that was the case, but I think I may have been mistaken.
Okay.
Because as it turns out, I think they could have opted to actually itemize all the different charges.
Well, loads got thrown out before they even got to the ones they went with.
True, they got rid of the curfew charge, the gun charge, and
Yeah. The gun charge is the
the
intriguing one because that's pretty much how you know he didn't cross a state line with it.
Yeah, and actually, that was the one that people still apparently don't know because
Yeah,
they keep bringing it up.
it's fascinating. So
Well, I
all
want
five
same thing
charges,
about Nadler.
and well, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah,
Upon this announcement, the judge then he then mentions the term without prejudice. I think isn't that part of the verdict or something.
right.
So
Yeah,
what
okay.
does this mean?
So I believe it was Wednesday or Thursday when things started to look bleak for
Mm.
some people. The defense had already had filed a petition with the court, a motion with the court that was them basically requesting a dismissal with prejudice. They filed that request. Then verbally in the courtroom, they said without prejudice because I think they thought that they were losing. Because the difference here is that with prejudice means that he cannot be tried again. But with prejudice basically means that they get another go. The way that lawyers describe it is they say that they get another bite at the apple. Or at least that was the phrasing that I heard a lot of. So without prejudice usually would entail that they were a little bit more concerned than than we would have expected. Um
Oh,
I'm not sure if they actually were or not, but at least that would be the indication for a lot of other people. Those who kind of like just basically heard about this situation. Like for those who were watching it, I'm sure they had a reasonable expectation of loss after the third day of jury deliberation. It kind of makes sense because you'd expect that if it were so clear the first time that they would just rule it, right? Rule it in favor of the defense, and that would be the end of it. But that wasn't the case, so a lot of people got a little concerned the longer it went.
understandably so.
Right. So in terms of like the what was the question? What was the what had you asked me? Sorry, I got lost in my own train of thought in answering that part that I completely forgot the rest of it. Oh, without prejudice and with prejudice.
Yes, yes. So
So
the prejudice
right,
thing is what I was curious about.
right. So with prejudice would have been the more beneficial for the defense, and without prejudice would have been more beneficial for the prosecution, with some caveats. Meaning, like they could have chosen to not bring Gage Groswitz on the stand because
Okay,
that was so detrimental to their case.
obviously.
They could have brought in the Zeminskis if they had wanted to, because apparently they couldn't get access to them. um, for whatever reason, but that would have meant that the rescheduling of the trial and basically a whole reset on jury selection, the whole fucking spiel, which just would have been fucking awful. Could you imagine for Kyle, right? Could you imagine this boy basically is being threatened, his whole life, his whole livelihood, his whole future is hanging in the balance of these individuals,
Hmm.
and he knows more, I guess, than we do, that the prosecution is lying about his behavior, right? And he has to just kind of sit there and take it, right? That's just what he has to do, and that's rough. Could you imagine then they had declared a mistrial without prejudice, and he had to go through the whole thing again,
So
including potentially his own testimony?
when I saw people talking about this on Twitter saying he's a man, he should be taking this all this emotion, it's all fake. I'm sat there like, he's a freaking boy. Shut the fuck up. He should never have
He's
been in that courtroom in the first place.
he's barely a man. He
He's
has
not.
just become a man.
He's not a man. If he's barely, he's not. It's just no. He did something in self defense, something traumatic. The acronym PTSD seems applicable in somewhere in here, and it's highly
Oh, without a
likely
doubt.
considering all that he's now gone through and how his name has been well and truly tarnished.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
disgusting, absolutely
Some
disgusting.
people have made that comment actually. Like, what does he do now? Right? Like, okay, what with the name Kyle Rittenhouse, what can you now do with your life? Because everyone knows who you are. They said that they were going to move. At least the attorney representing them said that he planned to move out of that area.
Understandable.
But who outside of even in Kenosha? I mean, I'm not in Kenosha. I know about him. You're in another country. You know about it. Who
Hmm.
doesn't know that name? So what does this man do? Especially if he were found guilty of even a lesser charge, what would he do? And Rich T correctly points out he has to sue everybody for defamation.
Can
He
he
has
sue the
to.
president?
The president has to face the music as well. He has to, because otherwise, then there is no recourse for outright lies spread by either media officials or government officials.
So
They
that's where,
literally need to
yeah, this is where we can
sue.
now read tweets from Mayor Bill de Blasio and Nadler. I'll read de Blasio's and Nadler's. Anthony Huber and Joseph Rosenbaum are victims. They should be alive today, right? The only reason they are
I
not.
wouldn't. Hold on. First, I would never say in a million years, as a elected politician, that a child molester should be alive today. That sounds like a really great way to lose your reelection. Just
I
saying.
mean, it. Yeah. The only reason they're not is because a violent, dangerous man chose to take a gun across state lines and start shooting people. This is
Hmm.
called, like, to call this a miscarriage of justice is an understatement. The far right trolls who think it makes a difference whether a violent gunman or his weapon before or after he crossed state lines are missing the point. Two people are dead, and their killer is left unaccountable. That's not justice, and they know it.
Hmm.
Okay, Nadler. This heartbreaking verdict is a miscarriage of justice and sets a dangerous precedent which justifies federal review by the Department of Justice. Justice cannot tolerate armed persons crossing state lines looking for trouble while people engage in First Amendment protective protest. Is that what was happening? First Amendment.
No,
No.
no, definitely
First
not.
First Amendment protected protest, was it?
Yeah, that's why Kenosha Police Department declared it a riot. It was just
It's
what's
why
the word?
when he was chased, he defended himself.
Right, because they were just lawfully speaking words angrily at him. Right, there was no threat to human life. Nobody said shoot me N-word. Yes, that
there's
never happened.
there's
That
a
never
uh,
happened.
there's a
No,
tweet
no.
underneath from someone called I'm not going to read their name actually. It says, "My heart is hurting and I'm in slight fear. They might not be white, and I think they're making something that isn't about them about them." Oh
Oh,
dear.
boo-hoo. Oh, I want to cry for them. Oh no. Sorry. I
Could you
I'm
sound any less sincere?
Oh, yeah, yes I could. Yes, I fucking could. But I won't. Um but no, these people who literally didn't watch the trial, I hate to say they don't deserve a comment because it's the same logic that I apply to individuals who don't vote, but they bitch and moan about their election results, right? Okay, you didn't vote. So if you're gonna bitch and moan about the guy who's in power now, well, you kind of gave up your opportunity to make your voice heard. You decided not to do your fucking constitutional duty and vote for the person who you wanted to win. If you
Mm-hmm.
vote for somebody, then at least you could say that, well, at least I fucking tried.
For
If you don't
those,
do that, then you fucking deserve it.
if you're in the chat on YouTube, I'm going to put the links, the archive links to the tweets from De
Mhm.
Blasio and from Nadler, because they had to be. The moment I saw them, I archived those straight away.
Oh, with it, yeah. I screen capped so many tweets
Honestly,
today.
I've got loads saved of people spurging about this. I just like, they're
It's
just,
bad, dude. People
it's,
are actually insane.
I'm just keeping it because it's a nice little stockpile of cope and a
N-
rather sizable amount of reach.
Not
Uh,
only not only sizable cope, but some of it's downright fucking criminal.
yes, a fair amount of it is. It's slanderous.
Some of it, no, no, no. I'm talking about like some of it is downright criminal in that some people are calling for Kenosha to burn,
I mean,
which is
that's.
absolutely uncalled for and unacceptable.
I mean, it's
Like,
quite amusing to me because Biden won the state. Sorry, but he barely won it, but he still won it. I mean, it's a bit harsh. Take one of his states and just be like, nah, burn it. Okay, well, that's not going to impact you negatively in 2024. Or
no,
2023.
no, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's ffine. They'll be fine.
Just,
It's okay. Most of the people who voted for him anyway are dead. Um. Anyways, we'll just skate right on past that. Um.
jeez.
So, hey, I had to. It was too easy. You lined me up for it, and I couldn't ignore the fucking just the ripe fucking opportunity right there. Um. Yeah, but you had people like Nadler, you had De Blasio, you still had Hakeem Jeffries from a couple days ago who said, lock up Kyle Rittenhouse and throw away the key. Now, Hakeem Jeffries is a person who advocates for prison reform. Okay, dickhead, do you want prison reform or not? Do you just want to imprison your political rivals? Because that's fascism, and I know a group of really angry white people who might have an opinion about that. They're called Antifa. They're a little misguided, but with the proper coaxing, I'm sure they could find their way home. What do you think? You guys have some of those over there.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to respond.
Well, the thing is like it's like the absolute salt that is happening on Twitter right now. First of all, it's glorious. It's glorious
Oh
to
yeah,
watch.
I mean, if it wasn't such a controversial subject, I'd do a video on it on my main channel. If I was
Oh, fuck it,
smart,
dude. Do it anyway.
no, I can't. I'd get so much shit for it.
Damn it.
I can't. Not at this point in time of year. If I was smart and hadn't been a bit had a headache all day, I would have made a slideshow for the stream and just had all the cope on the screen for us. But I didn't do that. because I've got so many tweets. It's so fucking
it.
stupid. There's
But
so
it's
much.
so good.
It's like a renaissance for 2016 when Trump was elected.
That's exactly what I feel. But
It's
some people,
just,
actually, I think Ralph of the Ralph Report, I think he actually said this is better than when Trump won,
I
which is
mean,
hilarious.
I couldn't say for sure, but I will admit when I watched that verdict read, I did feel good because it was and you may not, if you're watching this and you disagree with us, that's fine. But under Wisconsin, under their law, Wisconsin, yeah,
Yeah,
he did nothing wrong. You can say he crossed the
right.
state line with a gun. He did not. He defended himself, and he even tried to surrender himself, didn't he?
Yes, he did, and
Yeah,
then got pepper sprayed for it.
yeah. So he took all steps he could. He didn't commit a crime, and you're treating a barely manly man as
I
some kind
mean,
of
yeah, I
domestic
get it.
terrorist. You know,
Yeah,
it's just not.
it's
No,
not. It's not only a blatant miscarriage of justice to even refer to the individual as as a domestic terrorist, but it's willful ignorance of the law and of your state statutes and of the video evidence that is widely available to literally everyone. Like the amount of reach that the prosecution had to go through in order to even fabricate a story. Kraus had the fucking comment that everybody gets into fucking fights sometimes and that you just gotta take it. I argued with somebody on fucking Twitter. Where the fuck is it? Um about how can you defend yourself against somebody. Oh yeah. Okay. They had made the comment that Timothy Simpkins, who a while ago we talked about because he was part of an Arlington, Texas school shooting. He shot 4 people, none of them died, but he got off with $75,000 of bail. And the day he was arrested, he was also let go. He
right,
or he posted a Snapchat picture after he was released, saying that he got off, he got out of it, right? This is a person who went to a school with a gun and shot 4 people. Kyle Rittenhouse was attacked first before he shot anybody, and he had $2 million in bail and was not released, was kept in protective custody and in the courthouse until his trial was held. Okay? And so I kept posting this about people, and I've added the caption, for those who still believe Kyle Rittenhouse's case is about race, I'd like to show you something. And somebody comes up here and says, the kill is the most important. Bro, you don't just look over lives that were taken. So I responded with, how can you say the kill is most important versus the reason why people shot in the first place? That's the entire point of self-defense. The person responds, self-defense to whom? How are you defending yourself from a person that's unarmed? Now, I want everybody in the chat to really understand this next point and my eventual response. Great question. Let's ask all the women who have defended themselves from rapists who were unarmed, whether it was pepper spray, a firearm, a taser, or any other instrument to deter an attacker. Is that not self-defense? The person obviously did not fucking respond, because anybody who makes that comment that self-defense must be done with equal and opposite force has never encountered any individual who has defended themselves against sexual assault by using an instrument besides their fists or their hands, or their feet, sorry. And if anybody would dare to make that comment publicly, they would be immediately shamed because it goes against the same leftist narrative that drives people to this conclusion that Kyle Rittenhouse must have been guilty, the same leftist narrative says that you must believe all women, right? So that means that every woman who has ever said that they defended themselves against an attacker using pepper spray, a taser, a baton, doesn't fucking matter, that they are to be believed 100% and that it was in self-defense. That you should believe the victim, but they can't do that while also criticizing Kyle Rittenhouse because it is a logical conflict of their ideology.
Mm-mm.
And they
Mhm.
can't. And they can't publicly do that, or else they are deemed unclean by the cultists who run the leftist narrative. Right?
Mhm.
So that's my biggest issue. A lot of people are saying, and this was literally Binger and Krause's argument. How can you defend yourself against somebody who has no gun? Very easily. If you are in fear of your life being taken from you, you may defend deadly force with deadly force. Plenty of people die from getting kicked in the face. I'm sure everybody in the chat and you, Meg, have seen the videos from 2020 in which somebody, I remember this video vividly in my mind. He's on the ground and
Oh,
some random dude comes up and fucking, fucking goal kicks this guy's head in, and you can see not only the blood splatter, but the teeth fly out of his head.
yeah.
Yeah, that guy was unarmed, but he had a fucking boot.
World Star.
Yeah,
Felt
World
like
Star.
felt like a World Star hip hop video anyway.
It was disgusting to watch that happen
So,
because I'm
because
pretty sure that person died.
I that is obviously horrendous. And can't condone that. We never do. Um, do you think there'll be a fallout in Kenosha, and do you think there'll be fallout for the jurors?
I certainly hope not. I want so badly that nothing comes of this, that people just take it, they protest peacefully if they fucking want to, and they go home. But I'm not sure. Some people are crazy. A person was arrested yesterday for attacking a woman. Apparently, the man had a knife. I have not confirmed that personally. But apparently, he attacked a woman and he was on the anti Kylo side.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that means that Kenosha should brace for more for a riot.
Kenosha don't
It's
deserve
possible.
that. They don't deserve that. It's not
Kenosha
fair.
does not deserve that, especially because as much as people on Twitter want to say that the individual, the judge, Judge Schroeder, who had presided over this jury, was a biased juror, he gave the prosecution every fucking opportunity to flagrantly infringe on Kyle Rittenhouse's rights. Either by withholding evidence. In fact, there's information that came out today that, in fact, the prosecution knows the identity of Jump Kick Man, who, as referred to in the trial, was the guy who kicked Kyle in the face twice, but was never identified. Apparently, the prosecution allegedly knows the identity of this individual,
I thought everyone
but
did now.
yeah, well, everyone does now.
Yeah.
I'm using allegedly because I'm trying to be fair. But they
Oh.
never pressed him on it. Never called a mistrial when Kyle Rittenhouse's Fifth Amendment was taken into thing. In fact, actually, this would be two different Fifth Amendment violations because you also have a right to face your accuser, and that was not allowed either. Because if the prosecution knew the identity of Jump Kick Man, then that means that Kyle Rittenhouse had the right to face him in open court. But the prosecution never gave him that opportunity. So not only did the prosecution get the softest, Vaseline covered fucking hands while handling this fucking case,
Yeah.
but the defense had to work overtime to fight against somebody who had broken the law. Straight up.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, we have 500 National Guard who are currently stationed and ready to assist the Kenosha Police Department as they request. They might need it. I don't know if they do.
Well, fingers crossed they don't, because, well, last time there were protests, a kiddie fiddler and a domestic abuser got killed, and someone lost their bicep.
Which, honestly, not gonna lie, not the worst.
I'll insert this now. Obviously, I don't like it when anyone dies, but I will happily say, at no point am I going to lose a single minute's worth of the very limited sleep I get because of it.
See, Meg might not say so, but I believe that child rapists definitely deserve to die. I don't give a fuck. Those opinions are mine and mine alone.
I also do the same here because I don't want to get this channel. I don't want to get this channel struck.
That's fair. If you have a problem with it, you can find me at TrumpsLP on Twitter, and you and I can go and hash it out. That you and the child molester live happily, either in prison using our taxpayer dollars or comfortably in his own home. He could infect another person. With their fucking trauma.
I would insert a spoiler for all of you now. Then, if you do that, chances are you'll get double teamed and then pegged by Chaos as well in the chat.
Yay! Actually, the first time I ever saw Chaos ever respond to one of my
I saw you interact earlier in the chat. I watched. Yes. Yeah, I was paying attention.
Don't worry, I was advertising. You wanted to know when the stream was? I got you. So I don't know if Kenosha has to brace for impact tonight. I certainly hope not, but I'm not holding my fucking breath.
I'm hoping not, because innocent people don't need to suffer because you didn't get the result you wanted.
Also, why are you taking your fucking anger out on random fucking individuals who had nothing to do with the case? It's the same thing as who was it? I posted a tweet about this actually. Hold on, let me go back into my my tweets. Oh yeah, it was the Jacob Blake confrontation. Jacob Blake literally had nothing to do with Kyle Rittenhouse. Why was Jacob Blake's fucking people getting involved? I have no idea. But I've been this is an interesting tweet. This is one of the things that I think is actually concerning. Now, Ian Miles Chong had retweeted this, and I have mixed opinions about him as a person. I don't really give a shit, and I don't want to really hash that out right now. But an individual whose @ is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. It's @ warmmouth_. Here's what they wrote. Warm mouth, yeah. And that's a questionably looking individual. It says, praying to whatever the fuck is out there that someone catches Kyle Rittenhouse, and I'm not going to say what verb that is, blanks him down in the street for real. Same with that judge. I hope someone pulls up to his house and blanks that bitch out.
People don't like the judge. That's what they said. They hating this judge. He was singing some song in court. He bollocked the prosecution. He ordered food, didn't he? Ordered Asian food or something. I mean, I've never wanted Asian food more in my life than when that fucking judge started talking about it.
I might fucking order Asian food right now because
he was just hungry. Okay, just a hungry boy. I was surprised he was actually mentioning wanting like Chinese food or whatever it was he was after. I was like, hang on, you're a bit old. Sure, you just want some potato, right? Something that your body can digest. Apparently, I'm wrong.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
But no. I you know what? I might fucking after the stream's over, I might fucking order some Chinese.
Lucky bastard.
But I mean, realistically, that's really all I have to say about it. I could rant some more, but eventually it would become pretty repetitive.
I would fall asleep before then.
That's okay. If you want, we can end it here. If you guys have any additional thoughts, feel free. Text us at or
Moisky Live on Twitter.
Yeah, Moisky Live on Twitter, or at TrumpsLP, or at
it's at Moisky on Twitter. Sorry, I forgot.
That's right. It's just Moisky. Yeah.
I'll put the Twitter handle in the chat for those who are, oh, the Twitter there, if you want to. Oh, okay. I've got one for you. So I tweeted on the Moisky Twitter, actually, while we were streaming, Kyle Rittenhouse was innocent long before he even went into court. The outcome was inevitable and correct. Reply underneath. One reply. I don't see where kids walking around with guns is okay. You're a twat. I will leave that to you because I don't do arguments, but do have yourself a merry time with that one.
Oh, you know me. I love getting in on some people on Twitter.
Oh, go
I love
nuts.
grinding their gears about this shit.
I'll be honest, that's a really dumb reply, so you can just have some fun with it.
Woohoo!
Is there anything else we need to talk about today?
No, I think that's it. Do you have anything to shill this evening?
No, because I haven't made This Week of Twitter, but if you are a subscriber of my main channel, it should be done tomorrow. I should be able to record it, but it will again be a reduced visual display. But it will be longer to make up for that because I got loads more tweets to go through, and I'm like, well, screw it, I'm going through all of them. So I'll do that. Yeah. What about you?
I have nothing to shill, not particularly. Now we do not necessarily have any. We probably aren't going to have a show next week, as it is Thanksgiving for Americans, and I'm going to be driving back from my fiance's parents' place on Friday, so I will not be available for the stream. So we will end up picking this back up on the 3rd of December. Are you cool with that?
That's fine by me. There will be videos in the meantime on this channel, so we will have some content. Don't worry about it. I've got a few topics. We're all good. I just gotta get the voice back fully, and then I can really sort of throw myself into things.
I feel that. I have the same problem.
Yeah. It's inconvenient for me because I'm working on all these projects for December and working on all these projects, and then my voice blows out, and I'm like, "Oh, you got."
Oh, isn't it the worst? And the worst thing is mine is inconsistent. So I'll be able to speak normally, and then I'll be not able to speak.
Oh yeah,
normally.
during this, I noticed it. Your voice went a little bit, like almost a little bit
higher and lighter.
Yeah,
lighter.
Yeah. Whereas I can drop mine a lot lower.
I can drop mine in response to this, but it's a lot less natural.
I might abuse it and do some recordings later with it.
Nice. Cool.
Okay, we're done.
Well, I want to thank everybody who joined us for the stream, and I'd like to thank everybody for hitting that like button. Always nice to see over 50 likes on these streams.
Yay!
But with nothing else, I'd like to say goodnight to you all, and say goodnight, Meg.
Good night, Meg.
Good night, Meg.